New York Post political columnist Fred Dicker. Fred, what kind of impact does a decision like this have?
Well, it's going to wind up in the courts, and the interesting thing here is that FanDuel and the other operators really have big bucks. There are potentially billions of dollars that have been involved here already. They're going to be able to buy the best lawyers to go up against the Attorney General. And there really is an interesting question here. Obviously, for some people, these are games of skill. For others, they're games of chance. So for the Attorney General simply to say none of them are games of skill, I think is kind of foolish. But how do you decide which are games of skill and which are games of chance? That's going to be part of the question here.
You talk about these companies having a lot of money, and really they've bubbled up just in the last year or two. Is it possible that that will make its way to Albany, that legislation could be drafted to try to clear all of this up?
Undoubtedly, and keep in mind what's really hanging out in the background here. This is about billions of dollars in revenues, not to these companies, but to the state cody. I mean, think of the threat that these games represent to lottery games in New York, to the new casinos that are going to come online, to the existing racinos. I'll bet privately Schneiderman, the Attorney General, has been hearing from these operators and would-be operators very concerned about the siphoning off of the finite gambling money that's out there by these really untaxed, certainly not sharing their revenues with the state companies that operate these fantasy sports games.
It's interesting, Jennifer just mentioned one of the companies is saying, hey, we'll still take your money. We'll still do bets. What kind of an impact will that have? Right.
I mean, look, the Attorney General does not have the legal right to simply snap his fingers and say you're out of business. I mean, he's got to go to court now, get a restraining order, and then they'll fight that. I think that's what they're doing. They're challenging Eric Schneiderman to take some action in court or some other way so that they will then have the legal basis to challenge back.
All right. Well, I bet you're going to keep an eye on this, so we appreciate it, Fred. Thanks a lot. You can hear Fred's radio program live from the state capitol every weekday morning from 10 to 11 on Talk 1300 AM.